Everybody.
Okay. All right. So, hi and welcome. My name is Jing. I'm the CEO of Bukit Vista, and today we have one of our first guests as part of our trusted community. His name is Gary Fell, and he's also joined by Paulo, who's on his team as well. And they will be speaking about GFAB Architects, which is a very interesting company that I've heard of for, I think, in my early days in Bali when I was working at the real estate agency. I used to open up magazines and I would see GFAB villas in these magazines and on these coffee table books. So just a little bit more about what this trusted community is about. We want to, as part of our mission here at Bukit Vista, to inspire delight. So we're building a trusted community where property owners can actually discover great talent, such as Mr. Gary here today. We're inviting people who have essentially a proven track record and established businesses in the region to speak more about their talent and what they do well. And I, as the moderator, I'll ask questions on behalf of our owners that I think could represent sort of like what an owner might be thinking about before they would employ somebody like Gary into their service. So the format is actually pretty simple. We'll just go over introductions real quick, myself as the host and Mr. Gary as our guest today with Paulo, and we'll have discussions about GFAB. And we'll look at his portfolio, we'll take a look and ask about some of his services, and then we'll finish with some closing statements. So to just go into this real quick, most of you probably know me already. My name is Jing. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bukit Vista. I studied at Berkeley in 2002, electrical engineering, computer science, and I worked previously at Airbnb and also at Aman Resorts, which is actually a very nice luxury resort here in Indonesia. And as my fun fact, once upon a time I danced in a Bollywood movie with Hrithik Roshan and Aishwarya Rai. And our mission here at Bukit Vista is very simple, and I think it's quite inspirational. We want to inspire delight through hospitality innovations that positively transform our guest partners and employees. And so we think that by introducing successful architects, this is a means of creating hospitality innovation, and this is a means of also creating positive transformations in guest experience, in owner experience, and for the people that work here at Bukit Vista as well. So without much more ado, this is a little bit more about kind of like the properties that we currently work with at Bukit Vista. So we have a selection of villas, guest houses, bamboo homes, all types of unique things that we currently market on Airbnb, and we delight our guests. So my next slide is Mr. Gary Fell, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Gary Fell to give us a little background about himself and what he's been doing.
Yes, is this the bit where I do the Four Seasons thing again?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Sorry, I didn't know. So I arrived in Indonesia 24 years ago. I was a project architect at Four Seasons Sayan, working for a company called Here and Company out of London. And I was sent over here because there were problems with the documentation, and generally it was, those who know the project will know that it's way beyond at the time anything that had been attempted on this island, and was probably a silly thing to do in some ways, but it turned out to be a very well respected hotel, and it's still, as I understand, one of the top hotels in the world. I saw that on the Instagram the other day, so it must be true. From then I basically stayed on. I was supposed to come for 2 months. I actually turned up with hand luggage, believe it or not, and I continued to work. Things went better. Project got legs on it properly. It got to move. People were appreciative of that, and I stayed on. Finally, going back just to pack up my stuff into a storage container, and came back a week later. That was after 16 months, and then I stayed to the end of the project. And then basically I was at a bit of a loss what to do. I wanted to start my own practice, and we met a wonderful couple called the Alfacis from Melbourne, who own a huge steel fabricating company. Wow. And they asked me to do their house in Melbourne. So we did that, and more projects emerged in Melbourne. And oddly enough, at the time, because of the sort of general perception of what our house in Bali should be like, it was very difficult for me to get work in Bali. So after Melbourne, I went to work in, my work, although I've always had the office here, our work took us to Cambodia and Thailand. And then finally, from the work done in Thailand, dragged us back to have people do projects for us in Indonesia. That was about 2004, I think, 2003. And we got a couple of villas here, and then the rest, as they say, is history. Wow. But it was a hard start at the beginning. People wanted a more of a, shall we say, ethnic looking villa with a lang or that kind of, those sort of rusticated look. I don't know what else to say about it. The Bali style, I would say, and broad spread brush. And it was just incredibly difficult to get anything going. And then, of course, in 2002, we'd had the bomb, which made problems for, everybody had problems then again, sort of thing. So we were, again, mostly working overseas at that point anyway. So we weren't so affected. And since then, our work's diversified into all sorts of everything, international schools to apartment blocks to holiday villas. Amazing. Gated communities. We do quite a lot of that sort of work. Probably you might have seen Samui, you had the pictures up earlier. That's a gated community in Thailand, very famous now. Just 28 5+ bedroom houses, and they're all individually designed. And we're about to start work, we hope, on a wellness retreat on the same property. Okay. This next year it'll be now. I'm sure it'll be next year, but we've already done the preliminary designs. The preliminary design's done, and we're just waiting for this road access issue at the moment, which we hope to be solved now. Okay. And then we should be all systems go, I hope. So you'd probably know more about it than I did, but it's definitely a growth area of tourism. This kind of like, you do the medical spa type approach to things. Lots of people use it to lose weight or stop smoking, that kind of thing. This seems most popular things they were doing with it, but it has a full program with medical professionals on hand, as well as just the usual complement, spa, yoga, etc. Sure. So that's a kind of something we're quite looking forward to. Okay. We're also working on projects throughout the archipelago, mostly hotels for the Dialogue Group. Okay. And boutique hotel called Cap Carosso in Sumba, which is on site now. Is that too much? Am I going on too much?
No, that's great. Great. I'm absorbing all this information. I'm just thinking, like my comments on it. Like I've been visited the Four Seasons many times, and I remember the very first time I walked across that sky bridge onto the lotus pond up at the top. I thought that was probably it was like probably one of the most inspirational experiences. I found that pre-Instagram before everybody was sharing it. So I found like how could nobody know about this beforehand? And funny enough, I did a vlog about visiting the Four Seasons about like a month ago, and I happened to notice that they use the same design architecture or the design language throughout the entire resort. Like when you enter a villa, it's also you enter through the roof. And yes. Yeah. And I thought that was a really innovative approach. It's a really good approach. If you can, excuse me, it's something we aim for when we do anything on a hillside. We aim to get the top-down entry into the villa, because then you're really not blighting the land with a great big house or whatever, are you? And it's popular. You can do. We probably noticed as well. We do a lot of work with garden roofs and landscape roofs, whatever you want to call it, which is partly a green strategy, but partly because you get these fantastic vistas over the top of the house and that. So, so yes, obviously, you can see the influences as you can move forward. What else? Okay, well, if that's good, let's go to your next slide. So the next part is, I guess maybe you can tell us a little bit. I have your portfolio here and your website here too as well,
Okay.
and either maybe yourself or your director Paulo can maybe just talk about some projects that you're particularly
Uh,
proud of or that you want us to kind of like zoom in on.
okay. All right. So look, honest, I know this sounds like the usual blah blah, but I mean, the reality of it is all of our projects are important to us. You know, we try and do something a little bit different with everyone. They are fairly, shall we say, um, unique. Each different site produces a different solution. So you can see as you're going down this thing here, every one of these villas has completely different aspects of that. You know, so some of them you can see they're spread out, and really a lot of the time, I mean, broadly speaking, and this is a very broad brush here, the projects in Thailand and Koh Samui tend to be more view orientated, whereas the ones in Bali tend to be more courtyard based, if you know what I mean. Like
I understand.
wall compound, right, sort of thing, because you just don't get those kind of mega views, and well, it's very rare anyway. In Bali. So you can see, say, in this one, Lime Villa, the panorama outside of it is just incredible, right? Wow. So this is Koh Samui again. We've done a lot of work in Koh Samui, largely because of the success of Samujana. So you see again, it's a top-down entry villa, but you know, so you get that at the entry.
Wow.
With the horizon pool, it's a bit like Sayan, I guess, in a way.
Yes,
extensive use of water everywhere, you know, because obviously everyone wants a big pool in these kind of villas and stuff like that. So this is very old project now. It's yeah, more than 10 years old, much more.
It looks like it was built yesterday.
Well, that's something that we might address in the future things. But I mean, we do put a lot of effort into detailing and that, and making sure that these things they're relatively easy to maintain. Right? So if we look at so some of these things, the one below you see is the private house in Jimbaran. Again, this is one of the unusual ones where you will get this overlooks, you know what, the Jimbaran Four Seasons, there's a quarry next to it.
Yes, sir.
Right? This is on the edge of the quarry, so it gets the full Jimbaran Bay, airport vista kind of thing. So again, we're on a sloping site here, essentially. So basically the bedrooms are tucked underneath the pool, right? And most of the bedrooms, and the master bedrooms on the top. So basically you would enter essentially the level of the living room and deck pool level here, right? Where we are now. And then down to the villas. This villa also has a cinema and a golf simulator in it, sort of thing. Although I don't think we've got photographs of that room in this here. I don't know why, but we don't. So, but it's pretty fun, you know. And interestingly enough, I don't know if this constitutes a fun fact, but for the same people that we built this villa for, we're now doing their private house in Adelaide for them as the architects. So they're doing. It's good. So I mean, that should say. I think that says something that people come back for more. Whatever the right way is. I think. And then when you go to this one, like Keela, for example, you can, or the Imam. It doesn't really matter which one you do. The next two properties there, they were designed specifically as rental villas. Okay, with no holds barred on it. Right, these were not private homes. They were intended. This one's for a Singapore couple. I mean, a lot of our clients are actually based in Singapore, Australia, and because they wanted to do the thing, we decided to do something a bit different and have a pitched roof on this. But instead of having a roof on top of the second story, as you can see here, we occupied the void of the pitched roof, if you know what I mean, for the
like that.
That makes sense. We got that. If you get that picture with the bathroom, you see you're inside the roof space itself there, and then there's 3 more villas in the garden, bedrooms in the garden. So you see here, you've got the big void and the kind of cathedral-like window thing going on there.
I see.
And then there's two guest bedrooms in the garden, and another one at the opposite end of the pool, which I can't see the things now, but it's this bedroom the next door picture to that.
Okay, next door picture to that. Was it this?
The last one. No.
Okay.
Down. Go down.
This one.
No. Yes, that one.
Okay.
So that's actually another like independent pavilion, I suppose you would call it, which houses the guest bedroom on the ground floor. So the master bedroom on the ground floor. So there's 2 master bedrooms, there's a kid's bedroom, and then there's 2 guest bedrooms in this thing. Nice. So it's quite a sizable property. It's right in the middle of Seminyak, like literally slap bang in the middle of it. I don't know if you know where Sijin is and stuff like that. Those restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's around the corner from there. Literally.
Wow. So, okay. You found that must have been when there were still rice paddies in Seminyak.
Well, yeah, I think this actually, when we got it, it was one of those things. Someone had leased the land, and then once upon a time, it would have been a rice paddy, right? You know what I mean? It's now overgrown and shut off. But I mean, yes, it's unusual. And the reason they leased that land, as a matter of fact, was it was cheaper than to do the same thing in Brower. the price had actually flipped the opposite way. So, whereas before it was like downtown would have been really expensive.
Right.
Then this was cheap. The land ended up being cheaper than to buy the equivalent amount of land in Brower. So they decided to go with it here. And I think they made a good decision on that one because, obviously you can literally walk to the entertainment from this villa, right? Sort of thing. So it's quite interesting to how it turned out.
Okay.
Got back to the other one, some others if you want to talk to it. Keep going down. Here we go. I just keep going now. There's maybe stop at this one. It's not finished yet. We're almost finished. The M&D Villa, we're calling it. It's actually called Babadan now. Okay. If you go up a bit. Okay, so this guy.
I think I've seen this. Huh? I saw this construction site. Is it an Australian owner?
No, they're actually English, or British, whatever. But it's in Changurbia, basically, right? And it's almost looks like this now. It's a few, I'd say, weeks after we're finishing construction here. This one, right? But you see, what you're seeing here is, I hope you see this anyway, is that with all of our villas, before we go to construction and before in the process of design approval, etc., we will render the villas, then actually with real materials, exactly what it's going to be like. So there's really no surprises when it comes to the design approval stage of things. For example, the villa owners are able to see exactly what it looks like before we start studying. So, which you think is a worthwhile thing to mention. No, okay. So again, it's 4 bedrooms, 2 masters, 2 singles, normal, shall we say? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you might get, there you go. There's the picture you need. Mm-hmm. What we did in this one was we put the living room upstairs because you get the view across basically the mountain range in the middle of Bali, and everything in front of them here is greenbelt. So it's quite, actually you'd normally would be looking backwards, but there's a very ugly building behind us. And so we took the punt to place the pool and everything down in the garden and basically jungle it out, and then turn the thing around and look at the mountains in the distance here, which is, I think it's not perfect picture. Okay, all right. Excuse me.
That's amazing. This is fabulous work. Okay, let's kind of go back to the I guess the main narrative then. We got a lot out of that, and thank you, Gary, so much for introducing some of your beautiful work that you've done in your career. A question that we want to ask is related to, I guess we've talked about this already, but maybe delving a little bit further about how does your work actually see positive impact in terms of on a property owner in terms of value, relationship, and legacy? Because I'm getting the feeling that the clients, they're not choosing you because of just a price or something. They want to have this relationship, and they want to have kind of like their property stand the test of time. And what sort of how do you approach this particular question?
Well, definitely we want the buildings to last, and we definitely want them to. If we're doing a rental property, we know quite a lot about it. We know what will get returns, what the right things to do, where, and whatever. We can effectively handhold people through the process if as needs be. Basically, it's not like a kind of. There's some people don't have that kind of relationship with their clients. We see it as something that we need to do as much for, because it's how we promote our work moving forward. So what we don't want to do is, through bad detailing or something similar, to have buildings that fall into pieces in a couple of years and they look good on when you do the photographs, and then after that they look completely knackered. So we try and make sure that when we're choosing materials, apart from the trying to source things local to the project as much as possible, we also look to ensure that things are so well detailed that they're not going to be something that's going to fall apart in very short time, that sort of thing. So in terms of the relationships with our clients, I think almost universally good. If that's what you mean by relationship, I'm not really sure. That they tend to become friends, and we spend time with them, and I think they appreciate that we do put our backs into it, and make sure that we deliver a top quality product. Right, basically, the legacy side of it. I mean, I can only say that we have. I don't know if this is what you want to talk about, Jing, but whenever we've sold a property that's been completed, it's made money for the owner.
Oh wow! Okay, that's good. that's value.
I don't know whether that's what you mean by value. I don't know what I mean, but
sure.
It's kind of, I think what we see is when we look at other architects, and I'm not naming those, but we do a lot more drawings than most.
I see.
And I think it shows in the delivery of the product. I mean, the one that you saw the project you saw just then, the villas in Jimbaran before, that's 5 years old, right?
Right.
The Jimbaran Villa. And we took some people there the other day, this one here, and it looks exactly like that. It's in immaculate condition still, and the people we took around to see it, they couldn't believe it was 5 years old. I mean, it literally looks
like I said, it looks brand new.
It looks brand new, doesn't it? I mean, it's like, and it still looks like that. I'm not exaggerating. Even I was kind of like, oh my goodness, it's got a few bit more art on the walls and things like that now, but since these photographs were taken, but it is quite remarkable. I think it was quite a good selling point when we took these people around, as I say, because they were like, oh my God, if it looks like this in 5 years, super happy. You know what I mean? So everything you see there, this is Bukit limestone, like literally the stuff out of the ground in the area.
I recognize it, yeah. Well, you polished it up quite a bit.
Yeah, well, we cut it nicely, and we made it. You can see a pattern in there, and that so it locks together and all that. So it's that kind of, you see the detail in that. It's this is a unique stone pattern for them and stuff like that. Everything's we've tried to make it so that every house has something of its. We don't really, as you can obviously see, we don't do the kind of like shaggy dog, lang roof house thing, whatever you want, typical. What most people maybe associate with tropical houses, but we want to have something where there is a kind of direct relationship to the location it's in, whether mostly through materials, planting strategies, things like that.
I get it.
So, yeah, I mean, but I'm not exaggerating. It really, really does look like this, exactly like this now. It's kind of like little teeny things that probably changed plants here and there or something like that, but nothing that's worth talking about.
Excellent.
Okay.
And Gary, in regards to legacy, I guess a lot of clients, when they come to us, they think about will this building have like the right impact, let's say in the community around, or will it have sometimes legacy means is it like a crowning sort of jewel on my career and like a statement of my personality. Do you find that clients from time to time come to you with those particular needs that they want that relationship so that you can sort of express a sort of like it's unfulfilled need to create a monument to something like a something that will stand the test of time, something that will be seen by others and reflect upon a career or a business or anything like that?
I honestly not particularly. I don't think so. I mean, like, I obviously they get something that people see as like, whoa, you know, kind of, you know, sort of thing. I mean, we just visited a lovely clients. We just finished something for earlier in the year, and they told I'd actually taken again this couple round who were interviewing us for a job, and they welcomed him in and all that, and they couldn't believe it. Oh my God, you're so nice! You put those in your house. And then they told us the story that some people driving past in the car, in a car, I don't know these people from Adam. They didn't know him from Adam. They stopped and goes, "Wow, we really like your house. Can we have a look around it?" And they said, "Yeah, sure, come on in. Like, that's kind of, just let them in." That kind of, you know. So I think there's a degree of like they were proud of their house, you know, and they wanted to show it off, kind of thing. But it's like I was like, when he told me, I was like, "You didn't let them in. You know, you're joking. What are you doing?" That kind of thing. No, I wasn't. Like, it's never really cool about it. So I think there's a little bit of that people. I mean, we try when we're in a sort of shall we say more urban context where we don't want it to be like the showstopper sticks out like a sore thumb house, you know, in the street. It's got to blend reasonably with the neighborhood and stuff like that. We try to do that, you know, as best as we can. Often, I mean, I would say as a designer, you like constraints, right? You want people to say, "Oh, I've got an elderly mother and we can't get her up the stairs, so we need to put a bedroom down here," or whatever the things that are going through their mind. This is all fuel for us, you know what I mean, which helps you generate a different solution, you know, and stops things being generic, you know. So those kind of things we think are very important, you know, the clear brief from the client. Okay. That kind of thing. Yeah. Sorry, I'll stop talking there. You can edit that.
No, this is good. This is good. I guess I'll go into the next question. I think you might have covered this already, Gary, but I'll just kind of like zoom in. You talked about the Four Seasons, and of course, that's a landmark project, and that brought you first to Bali and jumpstarted your career. And we've seen a few of your homes already on the website. Are there any particular projects where you felt like, you know, really demonstrate your talent and also your credibility and your ability to work with clients well and generate something that's amazing?
I think it is, yeah, as Paulo just said, it's like doing something like a milestone. Seminyak, I suppose, is one of the obvious ones. This is like you could go back and look. I mean, there's so many villas there that you take a pic, you know. But I mean,
I'll start here. There
you go. We're here now, right? So this has been a long evolving project over time. You know, what we've got here is a situation of a gated community with basically 28 villas in it, with about 25 different owners. So we had to deal with lots of different temperaments and stuff like this, and you know, and effectively deliver a coherent architectural statement whilst every house being different. You know what I mean? So again, you see on the walls here, the stone on the walls is actually what we dug out of the ground again, literally underneath you there. A lot of top-down entry work because we did the master planning of the whole property, everything. So interior, everything basically. So it's quite you know, it's a stunner. Everyone knows it. It's well thought of internationally, etc. So that would be one. At the moment, I mean, I tell you what it is. Basque, I think I don't know if you saw Basque. So that's obviously had problems with the land and that, but I mean, it's you know, something where it was well thought of, multi-award winning, yada yada yada. So we've got the kind of with those two, maybe you go back up a little bit there.
Up a little bit.
Yeah, you can see the whole lot together in at least one picture in here, I think.
Yes, sir. I'll try to find that one. I did see that, like the entire project in one sweep.
Yeah, up. We might have gone past it again.
Well, they're so big, Gary. It's like
it's enormous. No, it's absolutely it's ridiculous. This project. I mean, and it occupied us for quite some time because you can imagine, getting 25 different people to agree to work on a property like this was quite a challenge, in itself. So it's taken a lot of effort, and this is what we see now. It's been completed some considerable time. So no, not that one. Not that one. I don't know what that one's there for. That's the only villa on the site that we didn't design. Ironically enough. The one in the foreground, I mean, someone's going to get a chop for that one. I shouldn't be on this website at all. That.
Okay.
There is a picture in there. I'm sure there must be.
I'll take a look around and see. Maybe we'll go over to.
Before it started with the.
We've got the one with everyone on it, everything on it.
I don't see it. Okay, so that's one. Are there any others that maybe off the website or anything?
I don't know. I mean, maybe looking down. I mean, of course, you can share this with anyone who's got an interest in it, by all means. This is the website, is it?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So maybe you need to go back up again.
Okay.
Sorry about this. You're messing around a little bit. We could try Celadon, maybe.
Celadon, yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, Celadon, maybe as well. That was something that was quite a big. Go on, keep going up. Bit more. They're in no particular order of completion, these buildings, by the way. I mean, some of these are relatively old and some are relatively new.
Oh, that's why I didn't find it, because it was on different resorts. Okay. These are now resorts.
So you can see all manner of things. Maybe it's. What's that?
You designed Coup d'etat?
I did Major Cowie, the upstairs restaurant.
Wow. Okay. That's a project everybody would know about, I think. Okay. Wow.
I mean, now you look at it, you probably can tell, right? Actually, a lot more difficult than it looked, that one, because the structure wasn't sufficient to hold a fully loaded building, so we had to do a lightweight construction for it. But so yeah, I mean, it was great as well. We worked with Sub-Zero and Wolf of America, that you no doubt know.
Wow.
And they were one of the sponsors of this, contributing their wares. But we got all this kind of molecular gastronomy bit in there, and it was quite a thing. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, it was nice. Let's go. Oh, you're back in the thingy again, are you?
Yeah.
All sorts of hotels. Let's have a look what we're doing in here. So we do. I mean, one of the projects we do a lot. One of the groups we work with a lot is Sailing Club. As you see, there's a couple in there in Vietnam.
Yep.
So we recently go back to the one above it, mate.
Okay.
This is a gated community. No, you've gone back again. Gosh, that one there, Sailing Club Food Plot. Okay.
Okay.
So you got no. No.
The next
project, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one.
No, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a beach club, and it's kind of a sort of potato head sized thing, whatever, coup d'etat, potato head, whatever you want to call it.
Nice.
And this is like an anchor tenant thing for a development, which we're now doing the second part of, which is the project, which is the residences part, Sailing Club villas. So again, this is on the beach in Phu Quoc. It's a very, very popular, well, it was before this COVID thing, beach resort destination. I'm sure it's coming back, but so and we've been working with these guys for quite a while on different projects. They're sort of besties in Vietnam, I guess, sort of thing. So they wanted something hip and edgy and like, but still had that kind of like beach feeling about it. And that I think it worked out quite well. You know, like we're now doing it. We're doing another one for them in Halong, and we're also doing another villa development for them in Halong as well. So this is in association with, it's actually one of the Vietnam's biggest developers, which is BIM, and they're fantastic. They're great people to work for. They own all the intercoms and things like that in Vietnam. You know, so it's proper, yeah, excellent. Blue chip clients, yeah, excellent to deal with. So that's what we're doing with these guys, taking us around the world. Let's keep going. I don't know what else we've got in here. I haven't seen it for ages. So keep going down. We've seen Samui a bit. Maybe we're going to get a bit further. Samui phase 2. Blah, blah, blah. Condominium. Cat Corso maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. That. Or Basque. Go to Basque. That one. We'll come back to that one in a minute.
Oh, Gili Manoa. Okay.
Yeah. So this was something we did in. It's not all built yet. They've had all sorts of problems with neighbours and the local people and that sort of thing. I won't go into it because it's not really my business to say.
Okay.
This is.
Wow.
This was. We went for this kind of off-form concrete look before, well, frankly, before anyone else was doing it. And we're very pleased with this. It turned out really nice. Unfortunately, they've yet to finish building it, even now, which is a long time going. So, but fingers crossed. They've got a few villas up, and they look good. I mean, you know, but it's a pool under
restaurant.
Yeah. It's kind of like a jazz bar thing. The guy who owns it's a singer, so he wants somewhere that he can croon in the evenings and that sort of thing. I think so. I don't know. I mean, it's like a guy, whatever they want, whatever you want, basically, isn't it? You know, like kind of. If you've got the wherewithal to do it, then by all means, so cool. we can do it for you.
Oh, I've never seen that yet. Okay, no, that's amazing.
So this was a. It won everything in the property awards and stuff like that. It was very, very popular sort of thing. And I look forward to being able to stay there one day. So the range of villas, mostly, I think that the deal is that they've got, it's one of those ones where it's on a lease back. So you buy the property and then you lease it back to the managing agents and that, and they run it like a hotel sort of thing. So that's the kind of deal there, which again is something we do a fair bit of. If we go up to the next one above, maybe.
Cape Maui?
Above.
No, above.
Okay. Cap.
This is in Sumba, right? I'm not sure what the standard of the renderings and that are here. This is under construction now. Nice. So it's a boutique resort in Sumba on the west coast in a place called Corso. The furniture's changed around, but these are a bit dated renderings, to be perfectly honest with you. But again, we're going for a kind of more rusticated, earthy look, which we think, you know, with the concretes and stuff like that, which we think suits the island better than the more refined thing. We've got some villas for sale there as well that we're looking at now. Okay. So that's another one of our projects. I don't know. I actually, truthfully, don't know what's on this website at the moment. So I don't wish to say. I got maybe Haritha. We could do that. Let's just give a bit of range. So have a look at Haritha, maybe.
Okay. Oh wow!
So this is a project this just won one of the World Hotel Boutique Hotel Awards, right? And this is a project in Sri Lanka, as you can see. We were given what was a overgrown what is it called? Cinnamon field, right? Below on the hill, and it was already gone. There was no cinnamon in it left or anything like it. It used to be once upon a time, and we met a fantastic. A guy loved our work. A guy from Bulgaria, of all places, bought this the colonial villa at the top, and it was in a shocking state, right? And then said, I want you to do this stuff below, you know, in this land here. So we've linked it all together. It's one. It's very I think there's only about 10 rooms or something like that in total in the thing, but they're all they're villa based and that, and it's got, you know,
Right.
restaurant, pool, spa, but it's a bit of a wellness retreat thing going with it. You know, they do a lot. So you see, there's the old part of it, and I mucked around with the window openings and stuff like that a little bit, and refurbished the pool, but not much more. Put them steps in, you see there, and that sort of thing, just to fix it all together. So to get to the lower bit, you actually go round, and this area we're in, where you're looking at now.
Yeah,
it's completely private. You can rent this whole thing as one villa if you want to come with a family. And then you go past it and down into the restaurants and that below, and then there's villas below that. So it's quite popular. You see, that's the old, you know,
it's really good. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't really
just sort of
excited anymore.
monked around with it, basically. We've got some good friends there that make crazy furniture and that. So I kind of tricked it up a little bit, but not much. You know, so it did touch
it's really attractive. It's really, the blend of sort of like this old colonial feel with the modern, and it just got the right balance. It's
and you when you're in the colonial thing, you don't even really see the modern things because they're all kind of the garden roofs and stuff like this. So you pretty much feel like you're in an old building at first. I mean, obviously the entrance and that's quite modern, and but you know this was great. I mean, through this people I was introduced to friends in China where we sourced a lot of the light fittings and such like from there. But you know, it's been great. Really, it's a pleasure to do this one. It really was. And again, they hopefully we're going to be doing their private house in Bulgaria, which is like a farm kind of thing. So they've become really close friends now to both me and the landscaper, which is another guy from here.
Goes okay. Relationship part.
We could maybe keep dropping down a little bit. You know, see what comes up below here. I don't know what I'm going to get, and that's the problem. Okay, but call it a day. It's fine. I don't think you need any more than that, really. You could have a look if you want.
That was more than one. So thank you very much, Gary, for that.
Sorry about that.
All good. That uplifted me. That inspired me. I had never. For me, I was always like thinking like, you know, Calyx, right? And some projects that I had heard, but that
oh god, no. I don't even think we published that one anymore. So we sort of, you know, you've got to let go after a while and sort of just say, no, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like what is represents what you're doing now, rather than what you did. This Calyx is what 2000. It's an oldie, very oldie. I can't even remember when we did that. It was a long time ago, though. It was one of the early projects here. Who is the right type of client for your services?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Like what do you think is, like in your own best words?
Anyone who enjoys design, I suppose, really. It's not, you can't imagine the range of our clients. Well, you probably can because you've obviously got them yourself. Right. But they come in all shapes and sizes.
Okay.
They, you know, lawyers, bankers, old doctors, scientists. We've got a complete range of people. They're so variegated that you sort of couldn't actually pick it out and say one was a right type of client or not. I mean, obviously it depends on the project. You know what I mean? I think that one of the things that often happens, I'm sure you've found in your dealings, is people come into a project underfunded for what their ambitions are. No, you know. So you know, we're quite good at property selling, as I said before, right? But I mean, what are the problems we've seen in a few projects of late? Not so much. This doesn't happen in Vietnam, but here in Bali, definitely, people are looking to sell some villas in order to build the next bit or whatever.
Right.
And there's a lot of, shall we say, reticence on the part of the buyers to buy something off plan. So even though, you know, they can glue our name to the front of it and say, oh, look, there's one lot of woods, that kind of thing. The fact of the matter is that it's more comfortable when it's built. You know what I mean? It's very easy to sell property when it's up. It's very difficult to sell it off plan. Because I think there had been some, well, frankly, dodgy characters out there that maybe not as scrupulous.
That's what we're trying to get rid of.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm more power to you for that, because there's some. Oh, I mean, we're doing stuff in Lombok at the moment, and you get, this historically that place has been a little bit, cowboy town. You know what I mean? And the south coast, it's getting much better. And we're doing work at Tampa Hills at the moment, and which I think is fantastic. This guy's nailed it. He's got it right. Yep. He's doing all the right things. He's a young guy. He's really got his head screwed on. So we're really happy to be working with them on there.
Okay.
But at the same time, there's still a lot down there that fly by night kind of. We actually had one project that, listen to this, you will be amazed, to avoid paying us, right, what they owed us.
Right.
They changed the name of the development in the company and closed the company down. No joke, really, like a lot of money too, right? And I sent the lawyers after them, and they said the company just didn't exist anymore. So who are you going to, it's like that. So that's the kind of thing we're getting, and those kind of people, obviously, we wouldn't want to deal with again. And it would be a case of if we were approached by a company level thing like that again, we would definitely be doing due diligence on it. So they would be the non-ideal, shall we say. I will tell you the name of the project if you like, but I don't really think it's the right place to do it. I'll tell you privately. Because I would do anything to people. But seriously, you need to have this understanding of what you're up for in terms of the costs, right? And we don't have a setup where we say, oh, you've got to have a load of money or you can't, we're quite happy to work within budgets where it's possible, but we feel like in the beginning it's important that people have a proper understanding of what it's going to cost, right? So you'll get people who say, I'm sure you've heard it yourself at times, oh yeah, I'm a great friend with the locals and my villa only cost me 26 pence or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's just a lie. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter whether you build, frankly, it doesn't matter whether you build nasty design or nice design, it's still going to cost you about the same per square meter, right? Which is we reckon about 10 to 12 million rupiah per square meter. Yeah. Right, we don't really like to use square meter rates, you understand, but just to get you into an idea that you're going to be building 500-600 square meters or whatever, and you need to have that kind of money put by. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed and not be able to build the thing you perhaps want to build. Correct. So I think that's important in terms of people getting the right thing in the head. At the same time, if we're quite happy to take on commissions that are much lower rent, if you know what I mean, in terms of, I think a lot of people, one of the problems that we see with our website, they see these buildings and they're coming quite large and they look quite flash, right? But in actual fact, if you see some of the other projects, particularly like the things for BIM and that, they were extremely strict on the square meters that we were able to build, not because they wanted to be necessarily price sensitive. I mean, I know for a fact that villas are selling for more than what we originally were told to budget for, because they turned out nice. But the thing is, in that particular situation, they had a target number for a development site, and there was a strict limitations on ground coverage that were allowed. So we had to be really, really methodical about how to get the maximum amount of value out of the minimum amount of square meters. So it's not something we need to go, we have to have a really big building and loads of expensive stuff. Like I say, most of the materials we use are locally sourced. So we're not throwing it away on gold, this and whatever, imported marble, that, and that's really not our thing at all. Right? So, it needs to be well thought through. You to do a building with us, honestly, you need a pretty good contractor. Pretty very good, actually, to be honest with you. I mean, because they take the care and attention to detail themselves and what you're doing. So our stuff's set out well, but if you go running into it and not think it through when they're setting the work out on site, they will run into problems. And we've seen that happen a couple of times in the past.
Of course.
And so what we tend to do nowadays with clients, especially in Bali, is say, look, we've got 3 or 4 contractors that we think are really good, and we would heartily recommend you work with them. They're about the same price as each other. And don't bring in some wild card. We did one villa where, you know, the client chose the contractor based upon social relations in Canggu, you know, whatever club or something like that. And it was a disaster, and we had to bring in our usual contractors. We fired him, and we had to bring in our usual contractors to basically not quite start again, but not far off. You know what I mean? It was they lost a lot of money by doing that, and it was thankfully it was their decision, right? So it wasn't my decision to bring in this idiot, right? But there's a lot of it out there, you know. Oh, my friend Bob the builder, my friend no, you know, my friend, no, they're not your friend. They're greedy people, right? Kind of thing. They just want money. We want great design. They just want money out of it. So I don't think you should. I think people should trust their architect on this. Basically, doesn't matter whether it's me or not. You know what I mean? The point is that we do this every day.
You need a haircut, though, right?
Huh?
No, it's like trust the architect. But you're saying it's like ask the barber if you need a haircut.
Yeah, right. No, I don't. But you definitely don't. You know, the contractors, they're different thing. They're there to realize it. They're not there to design it. They're not there to. It's not their business. They're not there to. They follow the drawings. That's it. Right? And we don't need them to do any more than that. Yeah, work well, follow the drawings, and voila, it should be perfect results every time.
Okay.
That kind of thing. So, okay. Do you want to go on to the next?
Sure. So basically, to summarize, it's a person who comes from any kind of background. They should have the correct expectations for the cost of what it would take to get into this project. They should appreciate design, and they should definitely think about like the team and work with high quality people that can actually deliver their
yes.
And
in a nutshell, yes. No? What was the last bit? Sorry, I missed the last bit.
And trust the architect.
Yeah, I mean, look, we touched on relationships earlier, and that, you know, we spend a lot of time, you know, especially designing a house, more so perhaps than a rental villa.
Sure.
It's quite an intimate thing, right? You get to know people quite well. You get to understand their likes and dislikes and what they're thinking and that. So I think it's a sort of, you end up in this relationship, and then at that point they usually do trust you. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. It's like, you know, we've got no skin in the dog in the fight in terms of the contractor per se.
Yeah.
It's not something we make money off fees. That's how we work. We don't make money off the contractor or anything like that.
Which is a great segue. Which is great segue. There. Essentially, in the most simple ways, would you be able to explain how you charge so that somebody who is considering your services can understand that in the easiest way?
Yes, obviously, again, I know this sounds a bit of like a broken record, but every project's different, so you're likely to get the different fees. We usually have a range of fees, and the way we charge for buildings is fixed lump sum. Right now, I want to explain a little bit about that. Some people, I believe, charge percentages. I don't know many, but and basically what we do is we price for the whole thing, right? So we do the interior, the architecture, pretty much everything.
Okay.
We don't include engineering and MEP, but we work closely with regular collaborators on that. Right? And we put a lot of, it's broadly speaking, the price we would charge is determined on how big the building is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. So, you know, it's I'm not going to say what we're charging. The people can make an inquiry, but I think we're very reasonable for what we do. And yeah, we tend, the way we draw down our money is on milestones.
Okay.
So we start off with a deposit payment.
Yep.
Then we'll go to first submission of concept. And which is, by that point, we know a lot about what's going on. We've been through the brief with people. We've studied the site in depth. We've got the surveys done, all that kind of thing. And we go into concept, and we create the building
Mm-hmm.
from the get-go in 3 dimensions. So we go straight to modeling effectively, right?
And for resort, we could say that we charge for repetition.
Yeah, and then for the Chapala's just mentioned that is that when we get to something like for a resort or a multiple villa project, for example, we tend to charge for the original house. So say we're doing like an original villa, gated community with 4 types of housing and 150 villas. The way we would charge that is we would charge for each of the types of house as one fee, and then the repetition would be a very small fee, like a licensing fee for the design, right? So
that makes sense.
Multiplied by 146 or whatever it would be. Right? So, and within that, we tend to pretty much throw in the master planning and, I mean, some of the things we even do the signage for and stuff like that. So we basically, at the end of the day, architects are basically just designers, right? They like designing things. They're more than anything else. So you tell me I need you to design me a toilet seat. I'll go, great. Well, so I'm quite happy to design anything. I like doing furniture. I like doing everything. So that's it. Really, we don't have something where we say, oh yeah, there you go, 4-bedroom house, it'll be this much money. It depends on, there's so much in it beyond that, right? Sort of thing. So, the first thing we do when we get an inquiry is we try as best as possible to clarify the owner's brief in terms of references, right? So we're looking at, we've got a questionnaire we put out to them, and it sort of asks them if they want a study and a library and a this and a cinema and whatever else, And, you have to understand we get all sorts of requests. I mean, we've got one villa where it's in Tampa Hills where it's got a helicopter landing pad and a paddle tennis court above and everything else, and an outdoor cinema, and it's vast. It's like 1.6 hectares of land and that, so it's an enormous thing. So it's not, there isn't a standard here. Well, I
see. Okay.
all right.
So to kind of summarize on that one, it really depends on the size, and it depends on, I guess, what the brief is. If somebody comes in with a lot of requests, then they should be expecting to pay more. Is there any other sort of like you would say linearity? Is it like maybe complexity or hours worked or whatever that would be involved in the pricing besides size? Any other correlation factors, Gary?
Not really.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, no. Honestly, no. I can't think of anything that would make a factor on that one. No.
All right. Oh, good.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. Last slide. So we're done. Do you have any last thoughts or anything else that you would like somebody who is considering your services to consider? I mean, this has been great. We've seen a lot of your work. We know your style. We've got to converse with you, so we got to know a little bit, and also Paulo as well, your director. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave us with?
Truthfully, no. And now, sorry about that. So, truthfully, not really. Anything more we can add to this? Not really. I think I've talked my head off all afternoon. I feel like, so, sorry if I went on a little bit too much there, but no.
That's it then. Thank you so much, Gary, for coming in today. Being one of the very first people to be part of the trusted community.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great, and
it's nice to be recognised in that. I know it looks like I should not even say things like that, but honestly, it's kind of like you never tire of hearing people say that you do nice work and things like that.
I appreciate your distance from and when I saw you come through, and Dista today is actually the person who first reached out to you. So thank you, Dista,
thank you.
For finding Mr. Gary, and for everyone else here, let's thank Mr. Gary for coming in today. We'll take a screenshot and actually put this on our website too as well, on our LinkedIn to say thank you. So give a big thumbs up for Gary and Paulo. If you want to come in to the screen too as well, so we can get a.
Thank you.
All right. Great.
He's about to go and rob a bank.
The man.
Bye, everybody.
Okay. See ya.
Okay, you take care of yourself.